Welcome to episode 2 of Hindesight, the vlog where I take you on my gig. Well, not really on my gigs, but the drive to the gig. And I discuss some interesting topics or topics that I find interesting. Today, I'm driving to Wales, so it's a solid 3 hour drive. I finished the gig at 11, so I'll be back home for like 2 a.m., maybe 2:30. Who knows? Fingers crossed. It's 2 a.m. And I'm actually working with a band that a few college mates that when I went to music college with are a part of, which leads me kind of swiftly onto the new kind of topic for today, which is coming from a question I got asked at a masterclass that I was a part of from a London school. One of the kids was asking, is it worth going to music university? And how did you decide that you wanted to go? This was kind of an interesting question because all the panel answered and everyone had mixed experiences because some went to music uni and or music college and some didn't. So my take is this. I really loved music college for a few reasons actually. The first being I got to meet, connect, network with so many different musicians, artists, and producers in so many different fields and genres. That was a massive advantage, which actually I didn't even realize until afterwards. It was something that you didn't take for granted. It was just a part of daily life. But that's a huge deal because where else do you kind of meet like-minded individuals studying similar crafts all in one place? Secondly, I also found that it was a really big part of the basis of my first ever bits of paid work. Like my first gigs, like came from music university. Like I got opportunities there to play, actually get paid, and one of my first residencies was actually from a fellow student that was graduating and couldn't do it anymore. So for that reason, it was great. I also think there's something about going to music college or any kind of institution, like educational institution, which is designed to help you. Well, it's designed to teach you how to learn by yourself better, but gives you kind of like a foundational start. Because how do you teach someone jazz? How do you teach someone improvisation? They can only really show you and guide you to the people that did it the best and show different techniques and tools that you can use. And also, one of the biggest things that's really great about it is that they give you feedback. That's really hard to find unless you go to jam nights or get private lessons. At music university, you're kind of getting that constantly because not only from the teachers, but also from other people in your craft that are progressing or not progressing. You can kind of take that observational standpoint and see like, oh, they've been working on this, or oh, well, that's a new way to try this thing, and all that kind of stuff. As well as that, because it's an institution, everything's really structured. So you can go to music uni and they have a full step by step, the ins and outs of bebop, or if you're doing classical piano, or you're doing anything like with production, setting up, sessions, they've got modules for that and you get tested on all those things. So your actual craft, you don't have to really worry about that. You have to work for it, obviously. You should practice. I practiced a lot when I was at university. I went to lots of different jam sessions. I tried to absorb as much as I could and also be involved in all the student like stuff, going out and just doing some dumb stuff too, but also seeing lots of great music as well. So from that kind of perspective, I do think it's a really positive experience. And I also think I got to really get taught by some of the greatest saxophone players and like musicians from some of the master classes they put on. We got to see musicians from the States, from the UK, from France, from Italy, from Spain. We were honestly very, very lucky, especially with the the jazz the jazz side of the music college, and I honestly think I would still do it again if it, if the choice were mine, I would still do it. But that being said, the cons of going to music college or music university, the first thing is they don't teach you how to get gigs. You will not learn how to become self-employed. The moment that you get paid for performing or for your craft, you're instantly a business. You become your own business because you're now providing a service, and that service comes under entertainment, right? I honestly think they very, very, very lightly touched on how to be self-employed, but there was no actual class. The way that things, by the way, it's raining like crazy right now. The main thing that they teach you is your instrument and how to play it well, how to navigate in difficult situations musically. But they don't teach you how to do your taxes. They don't teach you how do I get my next gig. They don't teach you how to advertise yourself, market yourself. And it's actually worse now because all the marketing that you have to do is kind of on social media. And if it's not on social media, it's got to be word of mouth. So you got to be in touch with the right people in the right circles that will eventually give you work, or you got to learn to market yourself in such a way that, as cringy as it feels, like you have to promote yourself. If you're a saxophone player and you need work and you want to play songs that you already know, then you might have to look into doing some solo gigs, right? Unless you physically put your own project together and handle all the administration and then search for gigs and whatever. Getting work as a solo musician can also be very challenging. Yeah, they definitely don't teach you how to do that. And also, as soon as you leave university, the support that you got whilst you were in university is no longer there. It's kind of like when the hatchlings leave the nest, or you're gone. Like, they need to worry about the next wave of students. So don't expect any support from them, because it's I think it's quite difficult as an institution to look out for all the graduates. Like, they did their job to teach you the best they could about the instrument, about the craft, about the history, about trying to fuel your creative soul in an institutional way, I guess. But they will not teach you how to live and thrive as an artist, as a musician, as a producer, and especially in the digital space. Like, this is my opinion, but I do think a lot of these institutions are way behind on the digital space. They don't tell you how to get brand collaborations. They don't tell you how to work with your favorite music tech companies or instrument companies or production companies. They almost have no clue how to market themselves in the digital space because, well, it's a new thing. And I mean, it's not something that's being taught because everyone's trying to learn it. Everyone's trying to get good at it. Everyone is trying to crack the code. So you can't really expect much from them. But the landscape has changed. I kind of spoke about this in the first episode, but I feel like the landscape has changed, especially in the last 3 to 4 years. It's kind of crazy in my eyes. But yeah, when you leave music college, you're also going to find an abundance of time on your hands, because now there's no lectures to go to. There's no specific gig. You're now kind of like, oh crap, like, how do I afford to live? What do I do? Like, I need gigs. I need to go into teaching or whatever. And that is something that you end up finding out on your own. I wish there was more of a plan. I wish there was more support for it. I wish I had a roadmap. I consider myself very lucky that I just got to know the right people in college and was fortunate enough to be asked for work, and still getting asked for work, which I'm still very fortunate about, and very grateful for it. But that's a massive thing. Like, I said in the masterclass, the connections that you make if you do go to music college, you should cherish them and nurture them, because you never know when the next gig might come from, where it might come from, who it might come from, or who's going to reach out to you, or if you need to reach out to someone if you've got a project. The most eye-opening thing for me was like how many people that when I went to music college, when we left, a lot of those people didn't actually end up doing it for their career. Like they still are great musicians or producers, but they do it more as more of a hobby. I went in there with the intention of, I need to make this my life. This is going to be my life. I had no idea how or what that would look like. I kind of had an idea of and a goal what it would be, and I'm kind of living it now, which is, I'm super grateful for. But they don't kind of show you how to do that. Another thing is like structure. When you leave music college, the abundance of time basically becomes, how do you organize your time so it's actually useful for growth, for connections, for work, for financials, all this stuff. That is can sometimes be a con, because you'll have days where you feel like you're not doing enough, and then you'll have days where you're like, yeah, like I'm on top of everything. And they don't teach you the structure or routine to like, okay, like there's certain things that I need to do each day to keep me on top of my craft, as well as on top of the whole business side of things, because that's a huge thing too. Yeah, I find that's the biggest thing between attending music college and then life after music college is like two completely different things. And it doesn't feel the same at all. Now, I've only known people that have not gone to music college, and I can only speak from experience on the behalf of others. But I can see from the people that never went to music college, one of the biggest advantages is their names on the scene are constantly being rotated. So that means, like, by word of mouth, if you never went to music college and stayed in a scene, so say you didn't go to music college and you just worked the London scene, your name, if you stayed there for 3-4 years and you constantly went to jams, you started to get asked for the bigger gigs, you started to tour, you started to do sessions, your name will 100% get rotated around, that you'll always get asked for work. You stay in a scene long enough, you'll be that guy. You'll get asked to do the thing on your instrument or whatever it is that you play. So that's one of the biggest advantages. I think, again, speaking from experience of other people that I've spoken to, what they've told me is the biggest disadvantage of not going to music college is just knowing some of the theory. Some jazz musicians that went to music college will maybe call out things or say things in a theoretical way that isn't universal, and it's like a very much a music college thing. That's kind of one thing. But yeah, like I'll be honest, I've also heard of stories where I know musicians that didn't get accepted into music college, stayed on the scene. A few years later, they're getting called to do a masterclass at that music college that they didn't get accepted into. And those things are beautiful because it kind of says, well, music college or not, if you stick to your path and you stick to your craft and you're true to yourself, you'll get to where you want to be, and the results will speak. If you put in the work, the results will speak. That's it. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I think overall, for me, I really value the connections that I made, but also the humbling experience of going in, doing absolutely everything to get as good as you can on your instrument, and then coming out and being like, oh my God, like, I don't know how to get work, like, how do I get consistent work? No one's told me how to do this. So it was a massive learning experience. Yeah, it's a tough one. I don't think there's like a right or wrong. I think it actually depends on your circumstance. If you're already involved in a scene and you're gigging life is already on that trajectory, and it's totally dependent on your goals. And if you just want to go bigger and better stages, like, maybe the music college thing isn't completely necessary. But if you want to kind of tap into the more academic side of music and follow more of a path where, like, you want to learn more about like the techniques of your instrument, or maybe even the kind of learning how an institution teaches whatever genre of music you're interested in, okay, it might be useful. But At the same time, there's a another controversial opinion which would say, well, why don't you just go book lessons privately with the tutors from that music college? I mean, that's definitely possible too. You would learn a lot, I think, and it kind of gives you a taste of the college experience tuition, without the whole like paying massive tuition fees. That's something that I completely forgot to mention in the cons is you end up with a load of debt. I probably should have led with that, but that's exactly what happens. You do pay out a lot, and yeah, it's kind of for the experience, I guess. But yeah, I had a positive experience. I For the instrument that I do, which is saxophone, I needed those private lessons in like I needed that tutor that I had for my 3 years. I was kind of between a few different saxophone teachers, and with all of their knowledge combined, like I wouldn't be the same sax player that I am today without their guidance. And in the same sense, being in that situation where it's a weird one in music college, you you've lived your whole life thinking from whenever you started doing music, you're the guy that does music at your high school, you're that guy that does music, right? You come to music college, everyone does music, dude. So it's almost like it doesn't mean that you're not special or anything. It basically presents a whole like identity crisis because you're not the only saxophone player now. There's a lot of other people there that play saxophone that are a hell of a lot further on their journey than you are, and it kind of sends you into like a, oh god, like I've got to be the best sax player. At least that's how I felt. Like I've got to be the best. I'll be the best sax player out of all these saxophone players. Oh jeez. But there's no sense in that because in reality, it's great to push yourself like that, and it's great to want to be the best. But that actually means nothing in music college because it doesn't carry on into real life. Like I think some of the greatest players that came out of the music college that I saw, it didn't mean that they were suddenly on tour with the biggest artists in the world, which because that you know being the best is completely subjective in music because some people would say that certain artists are not the best, but for some people they are. So really at the end of the day, like that's something they don't tell you about is dealing with that kind of identity. What am I? Like am I just an average sax player? It's like no, like at the end of the day, you are you. You've got your own sound. Just be you, Follow the things that inspire you, make you want to learn more, make you want to play more, make you want to create more, those things. That's really what's most important because that'll fuel you, you know? Learn the lesson, take the humbling blows that come with learning, especially in jazz education. I'm sure it's the same in classical as well. Is there's a lot of humbling experiences with teachers and playing. Like you're gonna get up and play at a student jam and you're just gonna sound like not your best. Like I've definitely done that. Like you may have sounded amazing to yourself a couple days before, you get up at a jam and you play absolute like dirt. You're like, oh my god, that was trash. I have officially made trash come out of my instrument. And then you get someone that's a couple years above you, comes out, smashes an insane solo, and you're just like, oh my god, what am I even doing here? But it's all a learning experience. Enough of those experiences will get you off of your butt and into the practice room and be like, there's certain things I need to lock down, and it's a non-negotiable thing. So in summary, it's not absolutely necessary to go to music college. I think it completely depends on your goal and your situation and what you want to do. I think it's a great place for networking. I think it's a great place to meet like-minded musicians, artists, individual creatives. It's great for structured learning, and it also has a lot of really really big advantages when it comes to seeing musicians that pass through, like experienced seasoned musician and artists that pass through the college. You get to see that for as a part of the curriculum, which is amazing. But cons, like lots of debt. They don't teach you how to be self-employed. They don't teach you how to market yourself on social media. They don't teach you how to be your own brand, to create your own products, to work with other brands. Like all of these things that are now really, it is a modern way of being a musician these days, you know? Because at the end of the day, you're a business, and you need to fund the business. The business has to have cash flow. So is that just coming from gigs, or is it coming from other things? So there are a few cons. And I would also say from the experiences that I've, if you don't go to music college, but you decide to commit to the scene, whichever scene that is, I think if you keep working on your craft and you keep trying to learn consciously, you will definitely become that name in the scene where everyone calls you for that thing, you know? Whether you're the solo guitar player or you're the saxophone player. If you're on the scene for long enough and you're attending the jams, you're networking consciously, you're playing gigs, you'll just keep leveling up and year after year. But that's not what everyone wants as well. That's not what everyone aims to be by going to music college. So, yeah, that's kind of my take on it. I'd love to know if anyone else has experience with this and what they think about music colleges, going there, attending them, or thinking about attending them, and your thoughts. So, yeah, I've still got another hour and a half to get to this gig, but this has been, yeah, this is this is being cool, hanging by myself in the car. Yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. So, peace.